This is further evidence that Hillary Clinton approved the Russia hoax against President Trump. Her campaign financed it. Again, she approved it. And the FBI and the CIA were both weaponized to, as our director of CIA has said, accelerate this hoax against then candidate and former President Trump.
The declassified annex to the Durham report has been released, containing shocking evidence that suggests Hillary Clinton's campaign was the architect of the Russia hoax. And the Obama intel community, well, they knew all about it. Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Concha, along with Jerry Willis, Molly Line, Joey Jones, and this is The Big Weekend Show. The documents contain emails, allegedly, from the senior vice president of the George Soros Open Society Foundation. He quotes a Clinton campaign advisor saying, quote, "It will be a long-term affair and to demonize Putin and Trump," and adds that, quote, "Later, the FBI will put more oil into the fire," unquote. Other emails reveal Hillary Clinton approved the idea of tying Trump and Russia to election interference. And that was a scheme hoping the allegations would distract people from her own email scandal. These documents provide clear evidence that Hillary Clinton's campaign was behind the Russia hoax and that the FBI knew what the Clinton team was up to, acknowledging that the info they were receiving about the Trump campaign may have come from the Clinton camp. Despite this, the Obama intel community forged ahead with their 2017 assessment, concluding that Russia aspired to help Trump win the election. So, joining us live for the big close-up is House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford. Chairman Crawford, Obama ordered his intel community to create this assessment, right, and tying Russia to Trump. If they knew this was a Clinton talking point, did they effectively produce a fraudulent document to damage the incoming president? And if so, what consequences, if any, could they be facing?
Well, I think that's the case that can and should be made. I think the evidence points to that. You made some points in your open there that just are dumbfounding, that the Obama administration was a part of this and that the Hillary campaign was doing exactly what they were accusing then candidate Trump of. And so you can attribute this to three different sources. You can Karl Marx, Saul Alinsky, or Joseph Goebbels, but accuse your enemies of what you're doing. That is a classic misdirection. It's a projection. It's a propaganda tool. This was done in part to take away from the fact that she was under investigation for her illicit email server and a host of emails that ultimately came out. And also it was done to try to, obviously, to discredit then candidate Trump. And it turns out that she was actually engaged in collusion. And so, again, it makes the point of accuse your enemies of what you're doing.
Chairman Crawford, Molly Line here. Thank you very much for giving us your time on this Saturday evening. The deep state is pretty interesting here, striking back. Brennan and Clapper writing an op-ed in the New York Times this week defending the validity of their assessment that Putin wanted to help Trump win the election. And Brennan went on the offensive during this MSNBC interview. Take a listen.
It's clear that there is a vindictiveness, a punitive nature to what he's trying to do with these policies and with these actions. But quite frankly, I'm not going to be intimidated because they're going to be pushing things out there that are false. And they're maintaining this false narrative about what the intelligence community did.
So, Chairman Crawford, I want to get your response there to Brennan. And also, are you going to investigate his actions in 2016, especially that December 9th meeting with Obama where they decided to create the intel assessment?
We actually did and continue to engage in that. First off, former CIA Director Brennan is a serial liar. He's basically retooled the culture at CIA in his image, and it has done severe damage to the analytic community that serve the CIA and other agencies of the intelligence community. This is a cultural shift, and he's responsible for it in large part. But the hubris that he displays, that this is a false narrative, that he's being accused, he engaged in a false narrative. He is responsible for the false narrative. And the real travesty here is that there are still people, despite the mountains of evidence that prove otherwise, because of his actions and others that helped him, and the media, there are still people to this day that actually believe what he said was true, that in fact President Trump was an asset of Russia. And that's that's the real disservice that he's done to the American people. One great big giant psyop, and he's responsible for it.
Chairman, so one of the tactics, I guess, or the strategy being used is by Democrats to kind of deflect from this is to simply throw shade at Tulsi Gabbard, the DNI, and to say she really doesn't know what she's doing. Susan Miller, who was a counter-intel chief during the election under Obama, that's basically what she told The Guardian. She said that DNI Tulsi Gabbard's allegations against President Obama and his intel community are misrepresentations of what happened and that Gabbard doesn't understand what she's doing. What's your reaction to that? What are your thoughts?
Well, again, so hubris doesn't even begin to scratch the surface on the level of arrogance that these individuals have. Tulsi Gabbard is in a position because she's an intelligent person, very capable leader. She's doing what she's supposed to do, what the American people asked of her, and that is to bring transparency to the intelligence community. Look, that seems like a little bit of a misnomer that we should have some transparency in the IC. But I don't mean that we divulge secrets and so on, but we be forthright and honest with the American people. And the American people need to trust those people in the IC. They need to. They need to know that those folks are being honest and that they're doing the right thing. And for the most part, they are. But we've got some bad apples in there that's contributing to rot throughout the IC, and those individuals need to be named, shamed, and taken the appropriate action taken against them. And we can start at the very top with President Obama, Secretary of State, former Secretary of State Clinton, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, and then we can start getting down into the senior executive service and the GS-15s and the GS-13s that went along with this whole plot.
Wow, it's astonishing. Chairman Crawford, Jerry Willis here. I want to turn to what's going on in the Senate. Your colleagues there still in session, delaying their recess in order to confirm some of Trump's judicial nominees. Democrats have engaged in an unprecedented level of obstruction to delay their confirmation. According to Senate Republicans, not a single civilian nominee has been confirmed by voice vote or unanimous consent. Chairman Crawford, what's your message to your Democrat colleagues in the Senate? And is there anything you can do in the House to signal to Democrats in both chambers of Commerce that this kind of obstruction won't be tolerated?
Well, we could pass a resolution expressing the sense of the House that this is obstructionary, dilatory tactics or whatever that are harmful to the judicial process, but they're also harmful to national security when you think about it. Not only are they whiffing on this particular issue with judicial nominees, but they're also leaving many ambassadors in the lurch. Why that matters from a national security perspective is that those countries that don't have their ambassadors confirmed and are dealing with maybe a deputy chief of mission or a charge d'affaires, that is a slight to those countries, and it's an impediment to our relationship. And President Trump knows this. He's trying to get this stuff done. That's why Senator Thune has kept them in session to try to push these nominees across the finish line, whether it be in the judicial space or whether it be in the diplomatic space, national security, whatever it is. President Trump is entitled to his nominees, and the Democrats need to just let it go and let's move on with the business of the American people.
Well, it's good to see that there's another crew besides us working tonight, and in the Senate here we saw live trying to push these nominees through. House Intel Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, it's a summer Saturday night. We really appreciate you joining us on the show tonight.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.